The Hindu community is the second largest religious group in Muslim-dominated Bangladesh, constituting approximately 7.95% of the total population. In recent years, the minority Hindus have been facing persecution at the hands of hardline Islamists in the country, despite assurances of safety and protection from Bangladesh's Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina. Let's take a closer look at how and why attacks on minorities in Bangladesh are being committed. This demolished Hindu temple in Bangladesh's Kumilla district is yet another illustration of festering extremism and intolerance against minorities in the country. 2 Muslim teenagers were apprehended by locals for defiling the idol of the Hindu goddess Kali. Police suspect that both the teenagers committed this act of vandalism at the urging of radical Islamic extremist groups in the region. Another ancient Kali temple was targeted a day after the attack in the Kumilla district. Multiple unidentified assailants, under the cover of night, broke into a Kali temple in the Janaida district. The idol of Kali was found broken into several pieces.
Kali Mandir, যেটি রাতের অন্ধকারে কে বা কারা এটিকে ভাঙচুর করে তার মাথা দূর রাস্তায় নিয়ে গিয়ে অন্তত মন্দির থেকে 200 গজ দূরে রাস্তার উপরে রাখছে, যেটা আমরা যারা সনাতন ধর্মাবলম্বী আছি তাদের হৃদয়কে অত্যন্ত ব্যথিত করেছে। বাংলাদেশ প্রধানমন্ত্রীর কাছে আমাদের বিনীত আবেদন, এই ন্যাক্কারজনক ঘটনার সুষ্ঠু তদন্ত সাপেক্ষে এবং বিচার বিভাগীয় একটা বিচার করার জন্য আমি করুণ আকুতি জানাচ্ছি।
These 2 incidents are the latest in a string of attacks on the minority Hindu community and their places of worship last year after a fake news story of the desecration of the Islamic holy book, the Quran, in a Hindu puja pandal spread in the Kumilla district. More than 100 Hindu temples, festival locations, businesses, and houses were reportedly attacked after the incident, and there were 7 fatalities. Fake news traveled fast, and the after effects were all too real for these minorities in Bangladesh. The Hindu community has not been the only minority group in the country to be under threat either. A Buddhist monastery in the southwest part of the nation was also burned down. Furthermore, in October last year, a violent Muslim mob also attacked an International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON temple, in the country's Noakhali region. Riches were stolen and the temple was desecrated. In March this year, another ISKCON-affiliated Rashikanta Jeev temple was also vandalized by a mob. In Bangladesh, radical Muslim groups have been allowed to grow unchecked, resulting in a continuously simmering deep-seated anti-Hindu sentiment. As was seen in the wake of the spread of the false story about the desecration of the Quran in a Hindu prayer area, the slightest provocation, real or imagined, is enough to bring anti-Hindu sentiment to a boil. The United Nations has rebuked the Bangladeshi government over these attacks and has called for an investigation into the orchestrated crimes against the Hindu minority community. Amnesty International, also noting the pattern of attacks on Hindus, condemned the government, saying that the state had failed in its duty to protect minorities.
The world should take account of these atrocities which are being carried out and try to crack down on these kinds of activities in order that the peaceful and the friendly people of Bangladesh could lead a life with dignity, including the minorities.
Several independent research groups found that social media was used as an effective tool to spread hatred against minorities in Bangladesh. Since 2012, there have been many attacks on religious minorities in Bangladesh as a result of online posts that spread misleading or false information. There has been a clear pattern to these attacks. A rumor is sparked that members of a minority group have disparaged Islam, and then this rumor is spread swiftly online. Recent studies have revealed shifting patterns in Bangladesh's Islamic majoritarianism, where being accused of committing blasphemy and atheism can have deadly consequences. For example, violent Islamists have murdered atheist bloggers. And a number of so-called blasphemous authors, cartoonists, publishers, and bloggers have been forced to reside in exile. According to prominent representatives of many minority communities, the attacks on their homes and places of worship by Islamic extremists also have a financial incentive, with attempts to rob the minority groups of their land and possessions. While the Bangladeshi government claims that minorities are protected, little has been done to actually prevent these attacks against Hindus and other religious minorities from happening time and time again. Having recently returned from a relief camp, 65-year-old farmer Mohammed Lashari and his family are surveying damage caused by the floods and trying to make their house a home again. Mohammed's family is among thousands of Pakistani families who return to their villages from various relief camps only to find their homes severely damaged. Money is not easily earned in many parts of Pakistan, and many families had put all of their income and savings into building a home. Now, floodwaters recede, taking with them years of hard work and painstaking effort, and leaving helpless families staring at destruction.
परेशानी ये है ना को चितो मी कणी पे तो असां काडे वञूं हिननि में रही बि कोन सघंदासीं छितूं बितियूं जॾियूं लॻियूं पयूं आहिनि हे किरियो पियो आहे हेॾे छे नयो पियो आहे असांखे इहा परेशानी आहे न काडे वेंदासीं असां ग़रीब माण्हू.
The floods have damaged an incalculable number of homes and destroyed millions of hectares of crops. The disaster has also deepened the country's existing educational crisis, as thousands of school buildings were damaged in the floods. Many educational centers in the flood-affected areas have also been transformed into makeshift emergency shelters to provide fleeing families with temporary accommodation. According to a UN report, the natural disaster has interrupted the education of nearly 3.5 million children in the country. Despite the logistical challenges, there are some NGOs that have come forward to provide education to the traumatized children who have been witness to death and destruction. In Balochistan's provincial capital of Quetta, dozens of children could be heard reciting lessons taught under a tent at a relief camp, where a local NGO has set up a temporary school to bring the classroom to the children. While these NGOs are providing a great service, they are unable to reach all of the 3.5 million children in the country who have lost their access to education.
परेशान तो लामाला थे अभी उनका तालीम जा रहा था अभी इधर शुक्र है स्कूल लग गया स्कूल भी पढ़ा रहे कुरान शरीफ भी पढ़ा रहे हम लोग बहुत खुश है इधर तमाम हम लोग को बोला कि अगर इधर हो हम लोग को साल 12 महीना रहे तो बहुत बेहतर है बच्चे हम लोग को जो ना कुरान शरीफ पढ़ेंगे स्कूल तालीम और तो हम लोग गरीब है अभी तो हम लोग को प्राइवेट का तो नहीं है ताकत स्कूलों का इधर शुक्र है.
Rail workers were without work and accordingly without any means to live for over a month due to the disruption. Hundreds of laborers are now working to repair railway tracks as the country hopes for a quick resumption of service.
यहाँ पे ये सैलाब की सूरत हाल की वजह से जो ट्रेनें बंद हो गई थी उनकी बंद होने की वजह से सन्नाटे हैं स्टेशन के ऊपर जिसकी वजह से आवाम का रोज़गार जो है ना ठप हो के रह गया है. हम दवा गो हैं और कामे वालों से अपील है कि जल्द से जल्द इसको बहाल किया जाए ताकि जो है आवाम का रोज़गार जो है वो चल सके.
Natural disasters can challenge even the most resilient of people, and in Pakistan, the flooding could not have happened at a worse time. With its economy in crisis and propped up by loans from the International Monetary Fund and dole from China, Pakistan does not have the resources to cope with the aftermath left by the floods. Simultaneously, severe distrust of political leadership among civilians is also hampering relief efforts. With homes, schools, crops, and land destroyed throughout the nation, Pakistan's common citizens remain the most affected and will have to try to build up their lives again from the ground up.